Nobody teaches you the essential money rules that you need to know. This means that managing your money is difficult, and it is difficult to be obliged to renounce to the things that you love. And I also was on the same boat as also 77% of the Americans. So over the years I studied rich people to understand what they did different. I wanted to understand which were the rules that were dictating their financial lives, and also how they could all get richer and richer all the time. This is how I discovered that most of the rich apply 8 rules to their finances. So over the past few years, I have applied the same rules to my life to see their true impact. And spoiler alert, the results were amazing. These rules have drastically improved my finances, to the point now that I'm financially free and that I can live my life as I want. And I am sure that by following the same rules, you can do the same. So first thing first, there is something which is actually one of the biggest differences between rich and most of the people. So imagine that you get $50,000. What would you do with all of this money? You would probably buy a car, make a trip, pay your rent, or something like this, right? On the other hand, a rich person would probably just take this money and invest it. But why would they do that? And no, it's not because they already have a lot of money. Because here lies the big difference I was talking about. So let's take this example of a car versus an investment. So when you buy a car, what happens is that it costs you some money when you buy it. And over its lifetime, the price will decrease, as well as you will have to cover costs for maintenance, for example. And so in the end, the car will just make you lose money. On the other hand, the investment over its lifetime will just grow in value. And this means that over time, when you will sell it, it will make you much more money than in the beginning. And so rich people are aware of this difference, the difference between liabilities, like a car, which make you lose money, and assets, like the investment, which actually make you more money. And this is also why I started saving as much as I can so that I can invest my money and I only buy used cars. So just remember, the first rule you have to apply is to buy assets, not liabilities, because this is what will make you rich. Okay, now we have to talk about an important subject, which is often misunderstood by the people, because we hear talking about it a lot, but we don't actually receive all the information that we should. So we all know that having debt is bad. Nobody wants to be in debt. Nobody wants to be paying higher and higher interest every month, right? Well, that's not always the case, because actually, if you study the rich, you will see that they use debt all the time. And even big companies like Microsoft and Apple, which have tons of money, they use a lot of debt, and it is actually their first source of money. But why that? Why do they do that if they have such big amounts of money? And this is because they know the difference between good debt and bad debt. So firstly, what is bad debt? Well, it is the one that we absolutely don't want to have. Credit card, for example, or also taking a loan to buy a new car, because this is a liability that will drain your money, and with the interest it will just cost you more. So this is bad debt because it will just make your finances worse. Okay, now imagine that you have found a great investment opportunity. For example, there is this startup that will surely grow enormously and you want to invest in that. In such a situation, a person which knows the difference between good debt and bad debt will take a loan to invest more money in this startup, because the startup will grow a lot. And thanks to the debt created, he will be able to make much more money and he will easily repay the debt. And so this is what good debt is. Debt that is used to buy an asset that will generate you much more money. So always remember that you can use good debt to increase your revenues. Let's now talk about something that allows me to earn several tens of thousands of dollars more every year. And this probably is also one of the main differences that you can find if you compare yourself to millionaires. People normally rely on a job to earn their money, and normally this money is everything they earn over a month. But that's not the same for rich people. In average, a person has one source of income, whereas millionaires have at least 3. As Thomas Curley outlined in his book Rich Habits, the daily success habits of wealthy individuals. This means that even if they lose one source of income, they will be fine. Whereas if a normal person loses his job, he will probably be in an extremely difficult situation. At the same time, having several sources of income will make it easier for a millionaire to make more money every month. And this is also why over the last years I've been focusing on developing new income streams. And I do this with investments, with real estate and side hustles. And all of this comes on top of my salary. And you should do the same. You should develop different sources of income. There are many things you can do. As I said, you can invest, you can work with real estate, you can have a side hustle. Find which are the best income streams for you and develop them over the years, because it will make a huge difference for your finances. Here is now the game changer that makes the biggest difference amongst all the rules that you have to apply to your life. Because if you don't do that, you will surely not be able to have more money. And personally, Personally, this is the thing that I do every day and I will never stop doing it. Because thanks to that, you will be able to have a better salary, to get a better job and make better investments, as well as many other things that will attract money to you. So this really is the best thing you can do. And it is to invest in yourself, invest time, invest money. Because this means that you will learn more and more. And remember, in the world, you are as valuable as your skills and your knowledge. So this means that the more you invest in yourself, the more money you will attract to you, the more you will be successful. And the first thing you absolutely have to learn is financial literacy. Because whatever you do in your life, whether you work in a factory like me, you're a lawyer, a doctor, you will always have to know how to manage your money. Because just that will easily double your own net worth. So if you want to do that, if you want to learn more about finance, just subscribe to this channel, because every video I make is about that. And it is my objective to help you learn more about personal finance. Okay, this is something I've learned the hard way, because I have some friends that like to spend a lot of money. They have good salaries and they often go out for drinking and for partying. And I used to regularly go with them. It was fun, really fun. But then I realized that my wallet was always empty. Despite I was earning good money, I didn't really have much money. Everything was leaving my pockets too fast because I was spending too much. And this because I was always going out with people that were always spending a lot of money. And this is the moment I understood the importance of the people that are around you. Because if you want it or not, the people around you will influence you. And this is why you have to surround yourself with people that have good financial habits, because it will help you do the same. Imagine that in your group of friends, they all invest their money. You will probably do the same. And let's be clear, with that I don't want to say that you have to break your friendships. These friends I was talking before are still close friends of mine. It's just that I also have other friends now. Friends that, like me, care more about their finances. So always remember that you have to surround yourself with people which have good financial habits. Now I want to talk about what is probably the biggest taboo in the world. But actually it is not a taboo for the rich, because they talk about it all the time. They do it since they were kids. But people normally don't. Actually, everyone is taught that it is impolite to talk about it. But this is actually one of the worst financial advice you could ever receive. Because whether you want it or not, the world in which we live revolves around money. And if you want to be fine, if you want to live your life as you want, you will need money. And talking about money will teach you enormously. Take your favorite sport, for example. Would you have the same level of knowledge if you never discussed about it with anyone in the world? Surely not. And the same it is for money. However, you have to be very careful, because it is good to discuss about money with everyone, but this doesn't mean that you have to listen and follow what everybody says, because a lot of people just don't know what they're talking about. But still, you can use their experience to learn their mistakes, for example. So rule number 6, and it is extremely important, regularly talk about money in your life. Okay, now here is one of the errors that people make probably the most, but that rich definitely don't. Because think, when you receive your paycheck, what do? You probably pay your rent, you pay your bills, and then with what is left, you just live your life. Well, the rich don't do that. The first thing they do is to transfer some money to their investment and savings account, because they know that this is what will make them richer. And this is why you should do the same. You should always pay yourself first. And it is actually very simple, because you just need to go into your bank account, set an automatic payment, and like this every month, as soon as you receive your paycheck, your net worth will increase by itself. You will have nothing to do for it. So always remember, pay yourself first when you receive your paycheck. Okay, we're now at the last rule that the rich use. And it is actually one of the main reasons which make a difference between having millions and not. There is not a rich person that doesn't do that. So you definitely want to do that too. I do it, and over the time I learned it to be my best friend, that I know it will always help me. So I've already talked about the fact that you always have to pay yourself first so that you can invest your money. And it is at this moment when you invest your money that what it is now my best friend, but that it will also be your best friend, comes into play. Because when you invest, the most important thing to do is to use compound interest. Because thanks to compound interest, imagine that you invest $1,000 in the Standard & Poor's 500, which has an average return of 10% per year. So this means that during the first year you will earn $100. The second year you will earn $110 because you had $1,000 plus 100 that you earned the first year. So the 10% is 110. Continuing like this, the third year you will have 121. And if you go to look to the 20th year, you will be earning $612, and 40 years later, you will be earning $4,144 per year. And this is amazing because, as you can see, your investment is growing exponentially. Imagine that after 40 years, just $1,000 will be $41,000. That's enormous. And so basically, compound interest is your best friend that is always there working for you, making you more and more money, and you don't have to do anything about it. And this also means that the more money you give to your best friend, the more money you will earn over the long term. And this is also how, for example, Warren Buffett made more than 100 billion years over his career. So the last rule that you must follow is to use compound interest as much as you can, because thanks to that, you will become a millionaire. Now you know the rules that the rich use to get more and more money all the time. And if you apply them, it will definitely change your life as it did it for me. And actually, if you think about it, the thing that the rich do the most is to invest their money. So if you also want to invest in the sector that will dominate the next decades, watch this video. Or if you just don't know how to start investing, you can learn by watching this video. Thank you for watching and see you soon.